Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Go-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
To Sports Talk with R&J, I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And it happened to the Giants on Sunday, a very unfortunate loss. They were down 7-0 in the second quarter to the Raiders when Daniel Jones went down with a non-contact injury. And then on Monday, it was confirmed that he tore his ACL, and he is now out for the season. And for the Giants, they're right now, they have no chance. The season is over. At this point, they're better off getting a top 5 pick. We'll see what happens. The schedule's favorable, but they're better off right now getting a top 5 pick. And honestly, we're going to get to this question. I think they're better off if a quarterback is there, if Drake May or Caleb Williams is there. I think you take him. I think you eventually move on. I think you move on from Daniel Jones. Yeah, he might be on the team next year because of his cap hit, but I think the smart move for the Giants right now is you move on from Dan. If you have the opportunity to move on, I think you move on from Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he probably played. I think probably played his last snap as a Giant. But yeah, with the injury concerns again, with the neck and, now with the knee and the kind of, his running threat's so kind of big for him. At the quarterback position, yeah, it's an unfortunate loss. It's been a horrible year so far for the Giants, just a total step in the wrong direction this year. But yeah, I think it's probably, especially you said, we never know how any of these quarterbacks are going to pan out, but it is a loaded quarterback draft. So if you are in position to get one of those QBs, I feel like you got to take one of those guys. And I think the Giants should, if they're in that position, which most likely they probably are going to be.
They have to, because even if Jones comes back, you don't know what kind of player he's going to be. You know how he's going to recover from this ACL. And you said it, his biggest strength is what he does with his legs. What he does with his legs. You never know if he's going to be the same again. And the thing is going to next year too. Next year would be a make or break year. You don't know when he's going to be ready to play next year, and you don't want to be playing a backup and start 0-3. So yeah, at this point, I just think you got to move on. I know, and again, I wouldn't be shocked if he's on the team next year because of the financial hit. We'll see what happens there, but because of the big cap hit, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it's time. If you have a top 4 or 5 pick, you got to take the opportunity to take a quarterback, because you look at this year's draft, the Bears are going to have 2 first-round picks. One of those 2 top picks isn't going to be a quarterback, because the Panthers are, because they'll take a quarterback, probably take a quarterback with one of those. The Cardinals, we don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. There's a very good chance they keep Kyler Murray and take Marvin Harrison Jr. if they have a high draft pick. And then your Patriots, that's another team that I think is going to take a quarterback. So it's really going to come to Patriots probably for Caleb Williams. If the Giants are in that position, they got no choice. They got to take a QB.
Yeah, they absolutely do. You got to go out and go hopefully start over. But then that probably mean, and I know Dable won Coach of the Year, but that that probably resets the clock for Dable too. For at least you got to probably give him 2 years of that new quarterback.
Yeah.
So because I can't imagine the Giants fire him.
No,
you can't just fire another coach after 2 years. You can't.
No. Even if it's a total disaster and they finish 2-15, the only way I could see them firing was if they completely fall apart. They start quitting on them. The locker room falls apart and they go 2-15. But say they go 4-13 and get a top, and they have the number 4 pick. You can't fire him there.
What about if Mara thinks he can go get Bill Belichick?
Good question. You never know the relationship between Belichick and there's a relationship there between Belichick and Mara. And Belichick, if he gets fired in New England, he's going to want to coach. And this is the one place where he would want to do it, because Mara would give him total control.
Yeah, he would. He would. Now that I'm not great for you guys in the future, but there's a lot going on about the Bill Belichick news right now. But yeah, I think that going back to Giants and kind of the quarterback position, or you got to go trade. You got to go draft somebody if you got the opportunity. Maybe the Packers could be in that spot either, because they couldn't even blow out the Rams. They could be another team that could sneak into that conversation as well. So yeah, there's a lot of teams that are going to be in this conversation for a quarterback. But yeah, with DeVito, it's kind of unfair that, because he's not an NFL guy. He's not.
He's awful. He's awful. I think Barkley's going to eventually start for this team. I just think because he's been in the league. I'm not saying he's good, but he's been in the league, and he's an upgrade over DeVito, because DeVito is absolutely terrible. He had 2 interceptions in the game last week against the Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not great. And Barkley too, because he was with Buffalo with Dable too, so he must have already a good understanding.
He knows the playbook. He knows the playbook. So I definitely think it's going to be Matt Barkley eventually over Tommy DeVito, because Dable's already not even committed to Tommy DeVito this week.
I think it came out 10 minutes ago that he is starting from.
He is starting? Okay.
Yeah, I saw it 10 minutes ago. So he's confirmed. Yeah.
Okay. So DeVito's going to start against the Cowboys, which makes sense, because Barkley kind of just got up to speed. But there's a good chance this could be Tommy DeVito's last start for the Giants. And this may even be his last start in the NFL with the way he's been playing.
Probably, yeah. Again, Jersey kid. I don't know. It's a cool story. I know he grew up 10 minutes away from MetLife, but yeah, he's not. He's not. It's unfair to put him in this position, because he ain't ready, and I don't think he's ever really going to be an NFL starting quarterback. So it's a tough spot, but yeah, I think Barkley's probably going to be the safe bet here. In the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. But look at the big picture with Jones, though. Like we said, I think you got to move on. You got to move on. It's unfortunate. We never thought we'd be at this point especially at the end of last year, because he had just won a playoff game. We thought he had became the guy for the Giants, but this year he just couldn't stay healthy. And let's be honest, he regressed. 2 touchdowns, 6 picks. I know the offensive line was terrible, but he regressed as well.
He definitely did, yeah. Some of that was probably the offensive line. Just has not been great all year. He hasn't been able to get much time to get rid of the football at all this year. But yeah, he hasn't looked great. Outside the second half against the Cardinals. And actually, I just thought of this too. How, with the Giants kind of messing around this offseason with Barkley and didn't want to give him that extra million or $2 million, you could have, they just gave him Barkley that money. You could have just franchised Jones, and you could have just cut bait with him this offseason. Like, that
would have been the right move. That would have been the right move. Because now, looking at the Giants, say you get the number 4 pick in the draft, or you get the number 2 pick in the draft, and Drake May is sitting there. You're gonna take him, but the problem is what are you gonna do with Daniel Jones? He's got this. I think if the Giants cut him, it's like $69 million against the cap this year. So, and even if they keep him, it's like $47 million against the cap. So, yeah, you're right. And I was a proponent of doing what they did. Signing Jones long term and franchising Barkley, but realistically, it probably should have been the other way around.
Yeah, it probably should. Because Jones just won that playoff game last year, but it was still you kind of felt like going in he could be the guy, but we're still not totally sure. And it would have been good to franchise him, give him this season, and be the make or break. But yeah, because you kind of had to sign him long term. You got into that situation with Barkley. You had to give him the money, and yeah, it just again that you got to kind of probably put that on Shane there because. That kind of messes up the head.
Without a doubt. I mean, yeah, without a doubt. That definitely is on Joe Shane.
Yeah, I agree. I know, he's got to – hopefully it's on one of these quarterbacks because, he's going to have to.
Yeah, he's got to hit. If Jones is done, yeah, he's got to hit. He's got to hit on the quarterback or he's going to be gone. So if say they get Drake May has got to hit for this team or it's going to be over for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in New York, and it's a great start last season. But yeah, he's got to make the right decision here. That's Caleb, Drake May, one of those. Whoever you can get. He's got to make the right call, and we'll see. It's definitely make or break. Gonna be maker. That's gonna be a make or break draft for the top pick there for New York.
Absolutely, without question. Now we'll get to the game this week. This is not going to be much of a game between the Giants and Cowboys. I think this is a game where the Cowboys cruised, just like last time. I think Dak has a big game. Dak had a great game last week against the Eagles. He played really, really well against the Eagles. I think it continues against the Giants. He has a huge week. I think there was 2 or 3 touchdown passes. I think the Cowboys forced a couple turnovers. The Cowboys defense is opportunistic, so they're going to force turnovers from Tommy DeVito. I got the Cowboys winning this one going away. I think the score wouldn't even be indicative of how big of a blowout this is. I got the Cowboys winning it 30-10 over the Giants. And Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got 27-6. This is a game where the Cowboys just go out and just bullet their opponent, and maybe the Cowboys kind of just run the football, get out of there, try to running clock it gets this thing over within 3 hours. But yeah, DeVito's gonna have a long day. I think there'd be a couple turnovers. Definitely gonna be a rough afternoon for the Giants, and yeah, Dallas should do whatever they want yet again against New York.
Exactly. It just seems like Dak Prescott has owned the Giants ever since 2016. It just seems like Dak Prescott has completely owned the Giants. I mean, the Giants had much more success against Tony Romo, but to be fair, Romo went up against much better Giants teams than this.
Yeah, absolutely, he did. It's much more competitive Giants team. So yeah, Dak's had a lot of success. He's loved playing against the Giants, and I know you guys finally thought maybe this would be the year you'd knock him off. But yeah, gonna have to wait another year.
It definitely isn't. Let me tell you something about Fox. I think they bet that I think they regret not flexing this game. I think they regret not having this as it's a 1 o'clock game and having the game we're going to talk about next with the 49ers and the Jaguars is the 4 o'clock game. I think they definitely regret that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm surprised they didn't flex out any of these primetime games this week. They're not very.
I know. No, they had some faith in the Raiders. The Raiders within AP, they played well, but yeah, definitely a move Fox wishes they made. Flexing that, flexing this Giants Cowboys game out at 425.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Cowboys. They'll still get ratings, but
exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be Niners, Jags will be should be a much more tight game.
Yeah, and speaking of Niners, Jags, that's the game we'll talk about next, and this is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a really good game between these two teams. Funny, one team's been playing really well, and one team hasn't. You have the Jaguars who've won 5 in a row against the Niners that lost 3 in a row. Both these teams are coming off a bye week. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. But I think the difference in this game is, even though Trevor Lawrence is clearly a better quarterback than Brock Purdy, I think he's the quarterback. Purdy's the quarterback who makes less mistakes. I do think even though the Jags stopped the run really well, I do think Christian McCaffrey has a really, really good day has a pretty good day on the ground. I do think Purdy manages the game well, and I do think this Niners defense forces a couple turnovers from Trevor Lawrence. I think it comes right down to the end where the Niners defense makes a stop and they win it close. I just can't see 7-2 Jacksonville, 5-4 49ers. I just can't see that, and I can't see the Niners losing 4 in a row. But I said that I said it against the Bengals, and they end up losing 3 in a row. But I just can't see this Niners team losing 4 in a row, especially with the additions they made at the trade deadline, going out and getting Chase Young, putting Chase Young and Joey and Nick Bosa together. I just can't see this Niners team losing 4 in a row. That's why I got them this week. I got the Niners beating the Jags 20-16. But Justin, can Trevor Lawrence lead the Jags to their 5th straight win and their 6th straight win and hand the Niners their 4th straight loss?
I'm with you too. I got the Niners 27-20. I can't see the Niners losing 4 straight. I just think they're too good of a roster. I think the bye came at the right time for San Francisco to kind of fix some things. Offensively, Purdy to get fully healthy. And yeah, this Jacksonville secondary, I think is where San Francisco's may have some success through the air. You might be able to get Deebo Samuel back, and I think that's going to be a huge addition. I think George Kittle is going to have a big day, and I think Purdy does not make too many mistakes in this one. And I think, and obviously they'll get McCaffrey involved, and he'll have a good game on the ground and catching some passes through the air. And I do think the Niners find a way to break that streak and get their first win in about a month here and go on the road, beat Jacksonville.
And I think this is a big game. This is a big game to see where these teams fall in their respective conferences. Because if the Niners lose this, I don't know if you could say they're a they definitely can't say they're a top 2 team in the conference, because they'd be 5-4, and they more than likely would be in 2nd place in their division. Now, if Jacksonville wins, you probably would put them easily top 3 in the AFC with the Chiefs and the Ravens. But say the Niners win, then I'd say the Niners are back to being a top 2 team in the NFC. And if Jacksonville wins, then you probably would say they might not be on Baltimore's level. They might not be on Kansas City's level. So this is definitely a big game in terms of where these teams fall in their respective conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the Niners, they're kind of still, right there. It's kind of, seems like it's going to be, even though the Cowboys played the Eagles really well, I got to see it in January, but, kind of all thought all year it's going to be Niners, Eagles NFC Championship game. But yeah, they lose another one. It really opens the door up for, Dallas or maybe even to Detroit. And yeah, you kind of think maybe, even though maybe Detroit is better than them. And yeah, with Jacksonville, team that's 6-2, yeah, that probably wants some, respect on their name and kind of wants to be in that spot there trying to get the bye. That's still possible. I know the Ravens are 7-2. You got the Chiefs at 7-2 as well. But, if Jacksonville kind of wants that bye, wants that one spot, and yeah, to kind of be up there with the Baltimores of the world, the Kansas Cities of the world, it's definitely a game that, they got to win and kind of prove it to the rest of the NFL world that they kind of belong with the rest of the contenders.
Absolutely. And last year they did get to the conference. They get to the divisional round, but they got to prove that they can do it consistently, and a win like this would put them on that top level of the AFC. But we are going to move on to a big AFC North matchup in Baltimore as the Browns travel to Baltimore to face the Ravens. You got a matchup of 2 top defenses here. I think both these defenses are top 4 in the league. They're both really, really good. So I think this is definitely a much better game than the game they had in week 4 when DTR started, and that was disastrous. The Ravens crushed them. But I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think the difference in the game, though, is going to be the running game. I think the Ravens will run the football better because they've ran the ball really, really well recently. And I do think the Ravens will force some turnovers from Deshaun Watson. I don't think Lamar is going to turn the ball over. I think that's going to be the difference in the game. And I think it's going to come right down to the end, probably with the ball in Deshaun Watson's hands and this Ravens defense making a stop. And that's why I got the Ravens going to 8-2 and winning this game. I got the Ravens beating the Browns 24-17. But Justin, can Watson help the Browns get revenge from week 4?
No, I got Baltimore as well, 24-16 in this one. I think, Watson looked pretty good last week, but it was against Arizona. And the way this Baltimore defense is playing, I think they're going to get after Deshaun Watson. I think he'll make a couple of mistakes. And in the first meeting, Baltimore did a really good job of kind of slowing down Amari Cooper. DTR targeted him 6 times, but, he only had 1 catch in that game. And Baltimore's kind of going to make some other guys beat them. And I think, because Cooper's kind of the one kind of weapon at the wide receiver spot where you you're kind of, I know Elijah Moore's got some speed, but like we just really haven't seen it a ton out of him yet. Like he's somebody that, maybe could have a big day, but I think, I think the Browns defense keeps them in it, but I think Watson, makes a couple of mistakes and Lamar Jackson outplays them and makes a couple more plays.
I think the biggest thing with the Ravens right now, seeing the way they've been playing, they've won 4 in a row. They destroyed the Seahawks. They destroyed the Lions. I think the biggest question with the Ravens right now is, are they the best team? Should they be the favorite in the AFC? I'm still going to say no. I'm still going to go Kansas City. I'm still going to go Kansas City until anyone beats them, because a lot of talk about Miami last week, and then Kansas City won. I think Kansas City's defense is pretty good too. And I know their offense isn't as good, but I think Kansas City's still a pretty well-rounded team, even though their offense hasn't played as well. Baltimore's a very well-rounded team too, but when it comes down to it in the playoffs, I'm going to take Mahomes over Lamar. So I still don't think they're the best. I think they're the second best team in the AFC, but I don't think they're the best team in the AFC.
I'm going to take Baltimore. I am starting to get concerned with Kansas City's offense. I know you still have Mahomes, but it's like your wide receivers can't catch the football. It doesn't matter how good you are. And Kelsey is, Yeah,
you saw that with Brady in 2019.
Yeah. The drop passes, it destroyed a couple of their games. They just, because guys just could not hang on the football, and you saw Brady's frustration with that all year. And, look, Mahomes is still one of the best quarterbacks out there. That defense is really, really good. But, like, I know Mahomes is like, we're working on it, we're going to fix it. But it's like, you're already in week 10. Like, I know, like maybe they could fix it after this bye, but I got to see it first. I know they have the Eagles coming up after this bye here on Monday Night Football, and that will be a really good test for them. But the way Baltimore is playing, they're just shredding everybody. And I think, it took Baltimore a couple of weeks of kind of getting rhythm with Todd Monken's new offense, but I think they've really figured it out. And I think the way Lamar is playing, he's playing at MVP type level right now, and he probably should be the favorite to win the MVP at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would agree. I don't want to hear about Tua. I'll take him for MVP over Tua any day of the week. Tua is being a good team. I don't want to hear about the quarterback rating. Tua is not being a good team. I'll take Lamar any day of the week over Tua to win MVP.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got to see that ball. I mean, that Miami team beat somebody over 500 before I could start giving that award to Tua. So yeah, I just right now the way Baltimore's playing, I think they're the best team right now because they could shut you down. And again, them and look, if Kansas City ends up getting the 1 seed, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit concerned Baltimore going there, but I know Mahomes and that team's done it, and like Mahomes has not played a game on the road yet in the playoffs, but I am kind of concerned about that offense right now.
Oh, you gotta be. You gotta be a little bit concerned. Yeah, especially with the receiving core. That's the thing. Kelsey's still one of the top tight ends in the league. Offensive line is still decent, but that receiving core, big concern. Because you look at some of their games, they didn't get over 20 points against the Broncos. They didn't get over 20 points last week. If it wasn't for that fumble at the end of the half, they probably lose that game to the Dolphins. So, yeah, this offense, you made a really good point. It is not what it's been. Even though they have Patrick Mahomes, even though it's not terrible, it's just not as great as it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't. Like outside of that Bear games when they put up 41 points, their offense hasn't really done much.
They did put up 31 on the Chargers, but yeah, still a good point. They just haven't. They just haven't done. They haven't done what a team with Patrick Mahomes with their quarterback would do. Yeah, no, they haven't so far, and it's just it's starting to get to the point where it's like you're kind of running out of time. I know, this is kind of the time in November you start to kind of figure it all out, but we're by the time they get back, so it'll be kind of the final kind of stretch run here when they get off the bye. And, look, their defense has really picked it up, as you mentioned, and their defense has really helped out their offense this year. And I just, like if your wide receiver just can't catch the football, it's very tough to win. Rashid Rice, I think is going to be pretty good, but like he's had a couple of drops in key moments. So that's just the thing, and again, like still sometimes on third down near the red zone, like they just haven't been great. Like some of the I just think sometimes Andy Reid play calling is just too cute in some situations where it's like, like on 3rd and 1, it's like they won't even, what was it Sunday? I forgot what the moment, but like it was 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. They could have gone to QB sneak and they think they threw the ball, whatever, and they got stalled, like why don't you try a QB sneak or something? It's just, some of the play calling too just kind of concerns me as well. Oh, it's got to. So, yeah, so the Ravens right now are in really, really good shape. A lot of people think they're the best team. I think they're the second best team. But if they win on Sunday, there's definitely an argument that they not only are the best team in the AFC, but are the best team in football. But we are going to move on to a game in Germany with your Patriots, who have been playing very, very poorly. I mean, after last week, there might be one time I might even consider picking the Patriots all year. Maybe that Giants game, but yeah, this team is just not good. And the team they're playing, the Colts, is surprisingly decent. I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball, Minshew, and you said it earlier in the year, Minshew just not done that bad of a job. They got a really good running game with Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. Got a good offensive line. I think that they control this game. I think they run the football really well in this game. I know that Bill will try to stop it, but we saw last week Bill's quote unquote great against young quarterbacks, and Sam Howell had a really good game against them. So I think the Colts have a good game running the football. I think Minshew manages the game. He throws a couple touchdown passes. I do think the Patriots move the ball in this Colts defense, because the Colts defense, outside of DeForest Buckner, is not very good. But even though they had those 2 pick sixes last week, they're not very good. So I think this game comes right down to the end. But I got the Colts winning this, and I think I got the Colts winning this on a game-winning field goal in Germany. I got the Colts beating the Pats 23-20. But Justin, can the Pats get a win going into their bye week?
I don't think so. After last week, I got Colts 23-17. You couldn't beat a Washington team that just traded 2 of their better defensive players, and you still needed some help from your defense to kind of, put you in range to be able to score points. Like, this offense is broken. The JC Jackson stuff too, and benching Jack Jones. I guess they just came out a little bit ago. They missed curfew on Saturday night in the hotel. So that's why.
God. Please. This is getting so old. It's getting so old with this. Oh, miss curfew, miss this. It's just, please stop.
The curfew, I get, like, you should probably.
Yeah, but you know what? The problem is Bill's put this garbage on the field, and he's giving this team a really good chance to win. So I'm so tired of this stuff with him. And then you see at the end of the game, you know how they lose? They jump off sides on special teams, which Bill puts a major, major emphasis on. We're going to put an emphasis on special teams, and guess what happens? They jump off sides on special teams, and that's how they lose the game. Or not completely lose it, but not give Mac Jones enough time. Yeah.
Then you had the holding on the return, which backed you up even more. So yeah, it just they're not a good football team. They're not a disciplined team. Jason Jackson has been told that to stay home. He is not on the flight. I think Jack Jones is on the, so I think Jack Jones is going to be playing Sunday, I would hope, because we have no secondary at all. I do not want to see Sean Wade and Miles Bryant out there. Those two are awful. Yeah. But yeah, I think Minshew plays well. Yeah, Sam Howell, again, they should have scored before the half. Washington. Sam Howell gave the, gift-wrapped interception in the end zone for the Patriots. Like, I don't trust this defense right now. This offense, I just think, is completely just out of sync. Nothing's kind of working. I just, you're kind of at the point where, again, like, maybe we could beat the Giants in a couple weeks. Like, I would hope if Tommy DeVito is a starting quarterback, we win that game. But other than that, now there's reports that Kraft would get rid of Belichick after this game. I don't see that happening, but I could see if they lose the Giants. But I don't see it. I don't see Kraft firing him mid-season. I just don't, and I just think it's going to get ugly. Sounds like it's going to.
Yeah. I think we just lost Justin.
To kind of show Kraft that you owe me a lot of money if you want to fire me. So I things aren't good right now, and with them going to Germany, I'm wondering too, like, Robert Kraft's gonna have to speak. So, like, we're gonna kind of, he probably won't give up much, but, like, he's gonna have to kind of speak on everything going on. So it'll kind of be interesting to hear from him. I think they're leaving today after practice over to Germany.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna fire him after this game. I don't think they're gonna fire him in season, but I could see them getting fired or then I actually would be surprised now if they didn't part ways at the end of the season. The way things are going, are going absolutely terribly, and I definitely could see this. I definitely could see this ending. It needs to end, especially with him as the general manager, and even with him as the head coach. There were mistakes on Sunday that you really never saw from a Bill Belichick coach team. I think he's definitely losing it. I think you have to move on from everything. I think you have to move on. And I heard rumors of Mike Vrabel and Nick Caserio. Now, if you're Caserio, you'd be a fool to leave Houston with the way C.J. Stroud's playing. And even if you're Mike Vrabel, the way if Will Levis shows you that he could be the guy, you shouldn't leave Tennessee. So, yeah, it's just really bad. I would not be surprised at all if Bill Belichick is gone, and Bill Belichick should be gone. And you know what? In the last 4 years, this is on Bill Belichick. He put this team together, and they have failed to have success.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that was a great point. Yeah, he built the team, and I know he's always puts blame on him and everybody else, and it's always kind of but yeah, he's the one that put this thing all together, and this team has it's been a train wreck. Like Tyquan Thornton, the second round pick, like he can't they really can't even get they got him on the field last week, but he did nothing. It kind of doesn't look like he knows really what he's doing out there. The offensive line just trying to be cheap and just trying to kind of fix this all together. It just hasn't worked. And yeah, it's gotten to a point where I think everybody's frustrated about it. I heard the atmosphere Sunday was awful at Gillette Stadium. I heard even the parking lots before the game, tailgating, it was a lot more quiet than usual. So yeah, and again, Robert Kraft was a fan before. Like he sat there in the back in the 70s when this team was pathetic. So there's also that kind of the fan in him as well. And you could and when they were showing Robert Kraft and his son Jonathan, you could see Jonathan going, "We're not good enough." So yeah, it's not good. And yeah, I think they're gonna have to split. You're just gonna have to. I like Vrabel, but it sounds like this would be his dream job too. So that's why I think he'd leave Tennessee. But I'm with you. It's like you're gonna have to come here and you don't know who your quarterback's gonna be, or just, and if you draft one, you don't know if he's gonna be the guy or not. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
And that's why Will Levis' success is really going to determine if he's going to stay in Tennessee or not. That's why he already announced Will Levis to being the starter for the rest of the season, because his success is probably going to determine is he going to still be there, or is he going to go to New England. And talking about Kraft, yeah, he was a fan, and he's seeing that these fans are not into this team. He's seeing that the atmosphere is terrible, and he's just not like that. Robert Kraft is not going to like the atmosphere being terrible at Gillette Stadium because he for 20 years it was great when Tom Brady was there, and then every year it just gotten worse and worse. It just got every year since pretty much 2021 when they made the playoffs, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And now they're one of the worst teams in football. So I would not be shocked at all if a change is made. And as like I said earlier, it should be made.
Yeah, I'm with you. It should be. I didn't think we get to this point, and I felt like Bill should walk when Bill wants to walk. But at this point, you got to just absolutely destroy this thing from the ground up. You got to absolutely get rid of everybody because Bill's got every kind of, Bill's all over that organization. You just got to get rid of all of that this offseason and just absolutely reset now. It's a time, especially if you could get a guy like Caleb Williams or Drake May to kind of reset things. You got to, because it's not good and it's not going to get corrected. And look, they have $110 million in cap at the moment for this offseason. So they get the right guy in here and the right kind of GM, they could turn this thing around pretty quickly. That's the key thing. So they can hit on these hires more than likely in the quarterback or the draft. They could be in position again in a couple years, or maybe even battle for wild card. Maybe next year they go after the right free agents.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see what happens with the Patriots going forward. But we will move on to tomorrow night's game between the Panthers and the Bears. Ironically, the Bears have both of these picks, so it's a win-win situation for the Bears. But I think the Panthers come in and pull the upset. I think their defense forced a couple turnovers from Badgett or Justin Fields. I think that Bryce Young in this game plays mistake-free. And I'm going to go with the team with the better coach. I'm going to go with the Panthers 17-13 over the Bears. Justin, who you got?
I'm with the Bears 24-17. I know it's Badgett. I think again they probably should have lost by more last week. They lost turnover battle 5-0. But the Panthers surely stopped the run. I think the Bears will have enough success on the ground. And Bryce Young had a couple of bad throws last week. I kind of see him doing the same thing again this week. Again, I think he'll make some plays against a bad Chicago defense. But I'll take the Bears to get the win on Thursday night.
Big game in the NFC as the Saints take on the Vikings. I think this is a close game. I think this is going to be a close game, but I do think the Saints defense is going to force Dobbs to turn the ball over a couple of times, and I do think that the Saints will run the ball better with Kamara than the Vikings will with Madison, and that's why I got the Saints winning a close one here. I got the Saints winning at 24-20. But Justin, can Dobbs lead the Vikings to their 5th straight win?
No, it was a great story last week coming in relief and getting that win, but I got the Saints 21-17 as well in this one. The Saints should have won by more than a possession or by one possession last week.
They missed some field goals. They didn't convert a 4th down.
Yep, and then they should have kicked that last one. They go up by 2 scores, so just some bad. The red zone. Probably gonna see more Taysom Hill in red zone situations. But I think Dodds will make a couple of plays, but they're playing a really good Saints defense that I think will get after him. I think we'll put pressure on them. Again, gonna have better knowledge of the playbook this week. But I think the Saints find a way on the road to knock off Minnesota.
We got the Steelers. We got the Packers heading to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. And in this game, I think this is a game that's close for a half. But I think in the second half, the Steelers defense takes over in this game. I think their defense forces a couple turnovers from Jordan Love. I think they sacked Jordan Love a couple of times. I think Najee Harris has a pretty good game on the ground. I think Kenny Pickett manages this game, and I got the Steelers going to 6-3. I'll take the team with the better coach and the better roster. I get the Steelers going to 6-3, beating the Packers 24-13. But Justin, can Jordan Love lead the Packers to their 2nd straight win?
I don't see that happening. I got Pittsburgh 16-10 in this one. It's going to be an ugly football game. I think the Steelers are going to get some takeaways in this one from Jordan Love. And, again, Pittsburgh this year, they're 5-3, but they've been outgained in every single one of their games.
But coaching, that's good coaching. That's what good coaching does.
Yeah. You can't keep winning that way.
I know.
You really want to think.
I know. And the thing about Pickett is Pickett needs to improve. I know Pickett's great at the end of the games. But he needs to be as good at the end of the game, in the beginning, and for 3 quarters as he is on the last drive. And he's not even close to as good for 3 quarters as he is on the last drive. That's the problem right now for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it is. And I'd like to see him get a new OC. I've never liked Matt Canada. Like, I didn't like him at these college stops. Like, he was with Les Miles for a bit at like LSU. Like, I've never been a big fan of Matt Canada. I'd like to see him get somebody new in there and kind of see what they can get, kind of unleash something with Pickett. But yeah, he's got to be more consistent at the beginning of the game than the final drives of the game. But in this, so again, going back to this game, I can't trust the Packers offense to score at all. And I think Pittsburgh's defense is going to capitalize off a couple turnovers.
Got the Texans and the Bengals. C.J. Stroud had a great week last week. Goes up against Joe Burrow, who's been playing great the last couple of weeks. He is going to probably be without Jamar Chase this week. So I do think this game is close and competitive, but Burrow, I think, throws a couple touchdown passes. I do think C.J. Stroud throws a touchdown pass or two, but I do think the rookie makes a big mistake in this game, and I think that's going to be the difference. And that's why I'm going to go with the Bengals to go to 6-3 and the Texans to go to 4-5. I get the Bengals winning this game 27-20. But Justin, can Stroud lead the Texans to a huge upset on the road?
No, I got the Bengals this one 28-20. I think Stroud, they're playing defense that's pretty good. I think he's gonna make some throws in this one, but I think Burrow's gonna just outscore him in this one. I just don't think he'd be able to keep up. I think Burrow's gonna have a big day, even if Jamar Chase doesn't play. And I think Stroud, maybe there's a mistake or two in this one that he makes. I think he'll keep his team in it. I think the Texans might get something going on the ground game in this one that will help them out. But I just don't see them being able to put up enough points in this one to keep up with Joe Burrow in that offense.
Got Will Levis and the Titans heading down to Tampa to face the Bucs, and I think it's another really close game. I think that Will Levis has a good game. I think he plays well. There's a couple touchdown passes. I do think Baker Mayfield plays pretty well, but I think this game comes right down to the end with the ball in Baker's hands, and he does not get the game. He does not get the job done, or this game comes down to Will Levis having the ball in his hands and the Bucs defense not getting the job done like last week. I got the Titans going to 4-5, Bucs going to 3-6. I got the Titans winning this game 26-20. But Justin, can Baker help the Bucs snap their 4-game losing streak?
I got the Bucs in this one 21-17. I think he plays well enough at home, and I think they do. I think Tampa's defense does enough to help them kind of stop the run in this one, and I think Baker makes enough plays through the air against a decent Tennessee secondary. I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin kind of get going this week, and I think they kind of manage this game. I think they protect Baker Mayfield well enough in this one. Then they get home. Tampa Bay bounces back this week from a tough loss last week, and get the win to go 4-5.
Got a pretty good game in LA as the Lions off their bye week head out to LA to face the Chargers. And again, I think it's another good game. I think that Jared Goff plays well, throws a couple touchdowns. I think Herbert plays well, but again, I do think the Chargers will lose because Herbert will make a mistake late in the game, or Brandon Staley will make a coaching mistake late in the game. He's not facing Zach Wilson this week. He's facing one of the top teams in the NFC. So I'm going to go with the Lions here. I got the Lions winning this game 27-20 over the Chargers. But Justin, can Herbert lead the Chargers to their third straight win?
No, I get the Lions as well. Same score as you, 27-20. I was not impressed with the Chargers offense on Monday night. They had less than 200 yards of offense, and they still won by 21 points. Kind of shows you how bad the Jets offense is at the moment. And like the only, they have Keenan Allen, and then, he uses Austin Eckler out of the backfield as well. But like, what wide receiver can emerge this week? Like they got to get, their first round pick, Johnson going, Jalen Guyton, like they need one of those, they need another wide receiver to kind of step up and help out and take some pressure off of Keenan Allen. And I think the Lions, kind of shut that down, make sure that Keenan Allen doesn't beat them in this one. And Detroit goes on the road coming off the bye. They knock off the Chargers.
We got an NFC matchup in Arizona as the Falcons. We lost a heartbreaker last week, faced the Cardinals in Arizona. But this game won't be as easy as you think because it looks like Kyler Murray will be back for the Cardinals. So I think this is a close, competitive game. But I think the difference in this game is going to be, I think that Bijan Robinson's going to have his best game in a while. I think Bijan Robinson's going to have a good game throwing the ball. I don't think Taylor Heineke's going to make the big mistake in this game. He made some mistakes last week. I don't think he makes them this week. I think Kyler Murray plays pretty well, but I think he's going to be a little bit rusty. So I got the Falcons winning this game 23-20 over the Cardinals. But Justin, can Kyler Murray get a win his first start of the season?
No, I got Atlanta 21-16. I think, Atlanta's a team that could, be or lose anybody week in and week out. But with Murray this week, I think the Russ is going to be there. And he's running a new scheme this year as well. And he's been running air raid for, again, like since he was at Oklahoma. Like I don't know what he was running in high school. So like he's running a totally different kind of new scheme here. And how healthy, again, I know that he's probably healthy enough to play, but he is a good runner. Like, can he kind of scramble out of the pocket, the offensive line? If Atlanta's able to kind of get some pressure on him, I think you're going to see some rust this week. I think Atlanta's going to kind of just control this thing with their ground game. And I got Atlanta finding a way to beat the Cardinals this week.
We got the Commanders heading out to Seattle to face the Seahawks. And I think that Seattle, this is kind of a get-right game for Seattle. I think it'll be close early on, but I think Kenneth Walker is a big game. I think Geno Smith, who has been struggling, finally plays well. I do think the Seahawks defense forces some turnovers from Sam Howell. And even though Sam Howell's played well, I think they forced some turnovers from Sam Howell. And I like the Seahawks here. I like the Seahawks winning this one 31-17. But Justin, can Sam Howell go out to Seattle and win a big game and keep the Commanders in this playoff race?
No, I got Seattle 23-20. I think, I think Sam Howell's going to make some throws in this one. I think they'll be able to do enough against, I think Sam Howell's going to have a good day against the secondary of Seattle. They got to get, he's got to get rid of the ball quickly. They got to kind of scheme some things up for that. Just make sure you get, instead of sitting back there and, getting hit a lot. And, can they get some sort of a running game going against Seattle, which I think they can, but, will they try to actually run the football? Or are they just going to drop them back, 40 times and just let them try to throw the ball all over the place? I think Seattle's offense does a little bit more than Washington's offense. I think that's why Seattle gets the win at home.
We got an AFC matchup on Sunday Night Football in Vegas. We got the Jets, who had a bad loss on Monday night, and the Raiders, who, under Antonio Pierce, I know they faced the third-string quarterback for most of the game, but they played a lot more inspired for Antonio Pierce. So, so that's why I think this game is really close. I think it's really competitive. I think it's a defensive battle because every game the Jets play is a defensive battle because they got probably the best defense in the league, in my opinion, but they probably have the worst quarterback in the league, in my opinion, in Zach Wilson. So I think this is a defensive battle. But I think the difference in this game is going to be, I do think Breece Hall is going to have, I don't think he's going to have a great game, but he's going to have his best game that he had since the Broncos game. And I do think the Jet defense will force a turnover or two from Aiden O'Connell. And that's why I got the Jets going to 5-4, beating the Raiders 16-13. But Justin, can Antonio Pierce win his second straight game as head coach?
I think he does. They got the Raiders 17-13. If they were playing pretty much anybody else, I'd probably go with the opponent. But the Jets just come off. It's a short week. You come off a bad loss Monday night. And I don't know if you heard Robert Saleh's interview with Michael Kay show yesterday.
I heard parts of it.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the part when they asked him, why don't go Trevor Siemian over Zach Wilson? Saleh pretty much said, I plead the fifth. So, which tells me that means Woody Johnson or, Joe Douglas is probably telling them that you got to continue to start Zach Wilson. So, I just think at some point, is this locker room going to lose Zach Wilson again? And I feel like the Raiders doing all from this one with their defense. I think Max Crosby is going to get after Zach Wilson. I think Wilson's going to make throw a couple interceptions this one. And I think the Raiders, again, find a way to win and somehow move to 5-5.
That's crazy to think of. But hey, looking at the Raiders, going to Antonio Pierce looked like the right move. A lot more connected with the players. A guy I had a lot of respect for. He was a former middle linebacker with the Giants. So yeah, it seemed like a lot more respect. The players respected Antonio Pierce a lot more than Josh McDaniels.
Did you hear the story about?
I heard the story about how Pierce ripped McDaniels, bragged about how the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and McDaniels like, don't talk about the Patriots that way. Oh, I heard about the story.
Yep. That will get you fired if you're McDaniels. That will absolutely. So yeah. Again, that makes sense now that why Davis went to Pierce and all that, and yeah, you could see they played hard for him. They had a
absolutely
great. They had a lot of fun in that post game celebration there. That looked like.
Oh yeah, and then looking at the Jets angle, I just don't know if they lose this game, they can keep trotting Zach Wilson out there. Because if they lose this game, this is a really big game for the Jets. They're going to make the playoffs. Because if they lose this one, they got two divisional opponents coming up. They got Buffalo, and then they got Miami on Black Friday. They lose this one, there's a very good chance they're going to be 4-7. And I think if they're 4-7 and Zach Wilson keeps playing, I think this locker room is going to fall apart. I think that Robert Saleh is going to lose this locker room. I think if they lose this game, they got to seriously consider just what Michael Kay said yesterday of going to Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because, again, they lost confidence in them last year. Yeah, we saw the guys were wearing the Mike White shirts and all that. And, especially because it's just so much to ask your defense week in and week out to continue to, hey, we got to keep teams in, the high teens, low 20s have any chance. And at some point, your defense is going to crack. And, that could happen, next week against Buffalo if they lose this one. They Buffalo goes in early and they score. Yeah, this whole thing could kind of fall apart. So, I'm with you. They got one of the best defenses in the league. But, it's a tough ask to keep telling them, hey, keep going out there and just, trying to shut all these offenses down. It's just at some point they're going to crack. And, that could be coming if they lose this week against Vegas.
Absolutely. I could definitely see it happen. I would not be surprised at all if they lose, but I do think they're going to win just because they have the better roster. They have the better roster. They're going against this defense going up against Aiden O'Connell, and I just don't think this Aiden O'Connell can beat this good. Last week, the reason O'Connell had success is they were able to run the ball consistently with Josh Jacobs. They're not going to be able to do that this week against this. I know the Jet defense statistically isn't great against the run, but they won't be able to run the ball consistently with Josh Jacobs this week against this Jets defense.
No, I think they might struggle this week. I think they'll be able to do it. And I thought O'Connell played well, but they got up early and they're kind of able to dictate the game and kind of just take control of it. And, I think, if they could kind of put O'Connell in some good spots and that offensive line could give him enough time. I think they got a chance, but it'll be a difficult test against this Jets defense. Cause that first, in O'Connell's first game against the Chargers, Khalil Mack had 6 sacks. Can they, can that offense, if the Jets get pressure on them, then I think it could be a very long day for Aiden O'Connell on that offense.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up talking about the Monday night game between the Broncos and the Bills. And I think this game is a little bit closer than people think. I think Russell Wilson's actually played better recently. Ever since that Jet game, Wilson has played better. And I think he actually plays, ever since that, that Chiefs Thursday night game, the last 2 weeks, I think Wilson has played better. He's definitely been better this year than he was last year. I don't think he's what he was in Seattle, but I think he's been better with Sean Payton. And I think he actually plays pretty well in this game. And I think he throws a couple touchdown passes. But I do think this is finally the game where the Bills offense, puts it together and plays well. I think it's close and competitive at the end, but I think the Bills defense makes the big stop. And I got the Bills going to 6-4, winning 28-20. But Justin, can Wilson lead the Broncos to their third straight win?
No, I got the Bills as well, 24-14. Yeah, you mentioned, Russell Wilson, he's already got 16 touchdown passes on the year. He only had 16 total last year. I think the last kind of couple weeks, they helped out. Their defense helped them out in the last game against the Chiefs, where they were able to capitalize off of 4 turnovers. And I think this is a week, but yeah, I'm with you. Where Buffalo, they got all those injuries, but I feel like that's, maybe this is kind of the get right week against this Broncos team. I know they've been playing better. I know the defense is starting to improve as well, but there's definitely some issues with the Bills right now, but I do think this is a game where they could win by double digits. And I think they got a little bit more talent than Broncos do.
Absolutely. But that is going to wrap it up for Sports Talk with R&J. But we are going to be back in about 10 minutes talking about the second week of the college football rankings coming out and the humongous game in Happy Valley. So make sure you tune in for that.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. You're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.